I actually tried to record this video a couple of times, but I didn't really like what I came up with. I don't even have like an explanation of why I didn't like it. Maybe I don't need an explanation. I just didn't like it. I reserve the right to dislike video of myself for no particular reason. I was going to talk about outlining because that's something that, is one of the first things that you do when you're trying to write a book. And it's definitely one of the things that I'm pretty decent at. But I was looking around at some of the other videos online of the people that I've been following for years and years, people like Rachel Stephen and Jenna Moresi, who do amazing jobs of explaining the plotting process and a very structured way of going about it. And I don't think I'm ready to tackle that beast just yet. Especially not during happy hour. I can't maintain a happy buzz and make a coherent conversation work. What do you take me for? Instead, I thought that we could talk about something else. A challenge that everyone faces at some point in their creative career. Writer's block. Writer's block. Oh, Lord. Lost my eyelashes. That's right, friends. Writer's block. The Voldemort of creativity. If you have a good outline, you can pretty much circumvent writer's block. For the most part. I think one of the most important things to keep in mind if you're struggling with writer's block is that it's not going to last forever. I know it feels like self-imposed mental torture while it's happening, but some of the best ideas I've ever had have come in the middle of what I thought was the worst writer's block ever. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, children. Some people will say that writer's block is an imaginary problem. It's all in your mind. That doesn't mean it's any less of a bitch. Doesn't mean you're a bad writer. It's perfectly normal and everybody goes through it. Except for the people who say they don't. Personally, I think they might be lying. If you find yourself struggling with creative blockage of any kind, it's really important not to isolate yourself. You know that saying, misery loves company? I think writer's block loves isolation. Reach out to other creative people and see if you can do some kind of group project. Sometimes it just takes somebody to bounce ideas off of to get the ideas flowing again. I remember this one time. I was on the 9th book in a paranormal romance series that I was writing, and I was shit out of ideas. At this point, the publisher is just wanting to crank out more books, regardless of the quality, so I could have literally just shit out any shifter romance, and they would have taken it. But I was literally at the point where I couldn't even think of anything ridiculous. It was just blank. After like 16 hours of mentally torturing myself, my roommate came and sat down, and she just started writing, whatever stuff came to mind. And I was immediately like, no. And I took over for her. Well, she took over for me, and then I retook over and typed over what she did. And that was literally all I needed, was just for somebody to write something, anything to just get my mind going again, to get the wheels turning. Never underestimate the power of a good friend. And there are always creative people willing to support each other. So I guess rule number 1 is don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to ask for help, or just ask for somebody to sit down and have a creative jam session with you. You can have a drink or a hookah or a cigar or whatever your little heart desires, and just sit there and talk about story ideas or song ideas or something that you've written in the past, something that you would never write in the future. Just something. And don't say you don't have creative friends. You could literally reach out to me on my Facebook, and I usually respond within 24 hours. On Messenger, though. I do disappear from Facebook sometimes. Or if you get on my email list on my website and message me, I will get back to you and I will sit and have a creative jam session with you. Another idea is to try switching mediums for a little while. The writing muse isn't answering your desperate pleas. Try sitting down with a sketch pad or a canvas and some splattery finger paint. Sing to yourself in the bathroom. Badly! I do it all the time. I'm sure my neighbors appreciate it. If you play an instrument or sing or have another talent, lean on that. And if you seriously are just abhorred by doing other creative things besides writing, sit down and listen to some music. There's no shortage of ways to inspire yourself by looking at other artists' work. My go-to albums for writer's block are The Greatest Showman soundtrack, which you may or may not be able to hear playing in the other room because my roommate's baby loves that movie. Raised by Swans, We Were Never Young, and the Hobbit soundtrack. Film scores always get me wanting to write because you close your eyes and you just start picturing scenes and stories that you have been wanting to write down. And honestly, that music has been a huge help to me when I was feeling creatively stuck. I bet Betty doesn't get writer's block. Tip number 3. Get off your lazy butakkens and go for a goddamn walk. It's beautiful outside, and even when it's depressing outside, there's still so much inspiration to be had. Just the cars going by on the street or the sun shining through the leaves. The world is a beautiful place. You just have to go out and look at it. Wear your mask. Be responsible. Unless when you're watching this, coronavirus is no longer a thing, then don't wear a mask because you'll look crazy. That is a wonderful thought. I really hope that by the time you watch this, people are not having to wear masks anymore. But my point is, get your blood pumping, get your legs moving, go do some yoga in the park, or in your bathroom, or wherever. Go sit on the swings at the park, get a breath of fresh air, remind yourself that you're alive. This brings me to my next tip. Tip number 4, recreational substances. No, I'm not talking about drugs. Well, not necessarily anyway. Maybe you need a cup of coffee, a Red Bull, shot of tequila. Make yourself a hot cup of tea, some cookies. Give yourself a little treat. Big, tall milkshake with extra pecans. I don't fucking know, man. Just treat yourself. Treat yourself. The serotonin flooding back into your brain dome. You'd be surprised how often writer's block is associated with depression or anxiety. So just do something nice for yourself. Cut yourself a freaking break and feel some happiness. Happiness. Yeah. You know what? Go have some sexy alone time with your significant other. Or, on your own if that's your deal. I am not here to judge you. I just want you to be happy. And guess what? That brings us to our 5th and final tip of the day. And what, you might ask, is tip number 5? Of course I know what it is. I'm not making this up as I go along or anything. Honestly, if there's only one piece of advice that you walk away and remember from this video, it's not to give up. Writer's block, like so many other struggles and failures, are a certainty when it comes to having a career as a creative person. Don't beat yourself up when it happens. Don't punish yourself. Sometimes there is a need to set a project down and take a break and walk away, but always remember to pick yourself back up and come back to it. You're gonna get through this. I'm here to help you. So if you're struggling, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my social media platforms. I'm trying really hard to be responsive on all of them, And if you can't reach me, there are dozens of supportive communities online and in the real world that you can reach out to and find support. Until next time, keep those keys clacking. We'll see you next week.